Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Let's Talk with me, Joe Emilio, and on my right, as always, Werner Weber. This is Let's Talk Weekly, where we talk about all the headlines. Well, not all the headlines, but some of the big headlines that made news in the recent week. And we've got quite some interesting topics at the moment to talk
Geez, I mean,
about.
like we start, it's like
It's
it's
been a
like
very
we,
eventful week.
yeah, I mean, we're not going to have enough time to even cover just like the basic headlines, let alone the most interesting headlines. And it's just so, it's like literally the world is just going, all right, let's just shake it up, see what the fuck we can come up with next.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, it has been a crazy week, no doubt, since the last time we spoke. But very quickly, let's just go on to this because I think you and I have been I wouldn't say targeted. I don't want to say
Yeah,
targeted.
it's not a target, it's question. I think
Yeah,
it's more just question, people concerned about our mental health, our mental well-being, um, which is nice. I think it's
yeah.
it's nice. It's nice that people worry about me, and you know, I appreciate that. Um, so yeah, no, I suppose people don't always understand why we are, I would say, maybe a bit more conservative,
Mm.
a bit more, you don't necessarily just jump on the latest internet bandwagons and just, I kind of firmly first got to look at all aspects of it, make sure you have all the information because otherwise you jump on some shit and you're not looking like an ass.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I don't know if you want to if you want to start with yours or how we want to talk about this first particular topic.
Yeah. So basically, well, I don't. It's I just want to say that I took the. If you haven't done it yet, go and do it. Just Google political compass, and you'll get a test, and it's a very interesting test. It's not a normal test. It's not like an SAT test or anything like that. It's just asking you some moral questions, if I can put it that way, and you say whether you agree, highly disagree, and there's a few different categories, and then you get like a graph which shows you your political compass. I ended up being something very interesting. I didn't expect. I'm quite a centrist apparently, which is interesting to me. I think I need to retake the test, but
Yeah, yeah.
um,
Aren't you right? Aren't you
I would
far right?
apparently I, and that is exactly what we have been labeled as by some of our
I wouldn't
colleagues.
say anyone's really labeled as such. It's sort of more like sort of like a loose association, references to that and such. But it's not the first time. It's kind of
Yeah,
happened before on Twitter, on various places.
yeah.
You know,
Or we're
um,
crazy. That's the other one. Like
yeah,
either.
oh, crazy. And look, I mean, look, I literally, I asked my wife the other day. I asked her often. I was like, "Do you think I'm nuts? Like, that maybe I'm batshit crazy. Maybe I am. Maybe I've lose, maybe I've just read way too many legal papers. Maybe I've read way too much like statistics. Maybe I've just, you know, maybe I've gone to way too many affidavits, and just my mind is just jumbled up with all this information, and I just spit random stuff up, and it just is incoherent babble. Yet in my mind, it makes perfectly good sense
Yeah.
because I'm batshit crazy. But she reassured me that I'm not crazy. You know,
As a wife should.
yeah, I mean, but maybe she's being nice because she's married to me.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Well, I just want to address very quickly. We have Chico saying hi, hello, Chico. Thank you for tuning in again, and of course, Storm Legacy. Good evening, Joe and Banner. I trust you guys are well. We are well. We're good. We're
Yeah.
just a bit. I don't know. Again, it's a very difficult thing, but I'm just gonna say it how it was. Basically, we had a very interesting conversation with some of our colleagues. I'm not gonna mention names.
Mm.
Um, and it made me wonder. It made me question. Like, am I far right? Am I like, is it, and even if I am, is that bad? Like,
Yeah.
what is, because everyone has a different definition of far right. Everyone has a different definition of being conservative or even liberal or far left or all, like everyone seems to have a different kind
Yeah.
of feeling about it. Like some people get offended if you say, oh, you're a lefty. Some people get
Yeah.
offended if you say you're a right. Some people get
Yeah.
offended if you say you're a centrist. So I think it's a matter of perception. But for me, like I
Yeah. It's
said,
just who are you gonna offend? Yeah, like you gotta choose. Okay, who am I pissing off today? Am I pissing off centrist? Am I pissing off the right? Am I pissing off the left? Am I pissing because these
yeah.
people that will literally be mad at you for not choosing a side. Oh, you have to choose a side. I'm like, yo, man, I don't have a pony in this race. I'm just looking at it from the outside. I'm just really just And that's been my approach all along. You know,
Yeah.
I've got no pony in the American race. I mean, I'm a South African. You know, sure, do I have the, you know, I'm planning on maybe immigrating to the US, but not as a freeloader. I'm going to take my business there. You know, I'm extending my business, you know, my software, um, my little small little empire. I'm going to extend it to the US and hopefully maybe one day have, you know, dual citizenship, you know, because I love SA, you know,
Yeah.
but I've got no pony in the race, you know,
Yeah.
at this point in time. I'm just an observer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why I took the test because I was interested. I was like, maybe I don't. Maybe I need to be told what I am. And that test
Mm,
is actually, I think, very accurate. And I ended up being. I should have actually prepared the image for the show, but I ended up being because it's divided into four squares, and there's
mm,
like authoritarian up here, libertarian down here, far
mm,
right, far left, and then in the middle,
mm,
obviously centrist, and
yeah,
different colors, and it's like little blocks next to each other.
yeah, yeah.
So there'll be a dot to show like how far you are, where you fall in this
Mm,
graph, depending on your beliefs, or your political views and all that. And I was like I was literally like on the crosshair
yeah, yeah.
in the middle,
Wow.
authoritarian. Like they
Yeah,
put
look,
me
I,
in
I
authoritarian. I
think
was like, what?
most people, most people I think most people are for the, you know, if you are a rational kind of free thinking individual, you probably find yourself a centrist, right?
Mm,
There are some things conservative towards the right that's you'd accept it. Some things towards the liberal left that you'd accept. There are some things that you would think is that are libertarian concepts that are good, but there are some things that you'd maybe think that are a bit more authoritarian. You know, there's a space and a place for everything, you know, and that's why I think if you're a, a common sense orientated individual,
mm.
then you know being a centrist is actually quite easy, you know, because you realize it's not the one or just the other, you know.
Yeah, no,
It's
I
it's a not it's a blend. It's about balance.
exactly, and I do like to think that I am like I look at everyone's views and I'm like, oh, well, this one makes logical sense. That one's just no, like but we got some Chico saying Chico says that he's far both ways, depending on how stupid the people are that are talking to him, and
Mm.
he says that it's relative to the person you are talking to. If they're far left, then neutral is far right to them.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
and I think today especially it's quite difficult because anything slightly right of the left, you know, is there's no such thing as the center. There's no centrist kind of concept according to what I would consider, you know, the leftist mindset currently. You know, that you either agree with that
yeah.
or you're dog shit. You're nothing to us. You're dead to us.
Well,
You know.
there are some people in the right that are also like that. You have to agree.
Yeah,
It
no,
goes,
absolutely. I
yeah,
mean,
it
both
goes
camps,
both.
like all,
Yeah,
and this is the thing is, like all camps have shitheads.
yeah,
You know, whether you're on the right, whether you're a libertarian, whether you know, I mean, I've met libertarian people that I thought douchebags. You know,
yeah,
but at least they believe in, you know, that people should be able to choose for themselves, you know, and have that freedom and liberty to kind of live their life as long as it doesn't impact or influence someone else's negative.
absolutely, yeah. And on that, we can both agree. And I
Yeah.
think, Big Daddy Liberty. For those of you who haven't watched, I did interview him, and you can go check it out on my channel. He always says he stands for
Mm.
faith, family, and flag, a love of country, not the government, love of his country,
Yeah.
and
Love of your people, love of your fellow countrymen, you
yeah,
know, love of your fellow man, even. I mean, there's nothing wrong, you know, but, you know, people have this kumbaya, no borders, like no borders, free will for everyone. And, you know, and that's where I'm a bit more conservative. I don't agree with that.
yeah,
I
me too.
agree in caring for my brother. I agree with looking after my neighbor and that kind of stuff, you know, where I can. But borders, you know, and I think Charlie Kirk said this, and it's a very good quote. He said that borders is the physical separation between good ideas and bad ideas.
Mm, yeah,
You know, and if you look at it from that perspective, then you can say, well, you know, that the world is filled with good ideas and bad ideas, but let's, you know, at least where our ideas begin and end. Let's have this, proper demarcation, and we won't stop you from coming to the good idea, but then you will work according to the good ideas, or at least what we class as good ideas, because it's subjective.
Exactly. And I agree with you as well on that point. I this whole issue of borderless borders, so to speak, like a country shouldn't have borders, which everyone is welcome in. We've seen how that affects a country. It's I always use this as an analogy for people who say like, oh, why don't you support like border like no borders? And I'm like, well, let's use this.
It's just stupid.
Well, let's use this example, right? So you have a house, you own that house, right? Let's pretend now that you say, cool, I'm not going to have any security. I'm going to leave my door open. Whoever wants to come in can come in, right? So people start coming in. Now more people than your house can actually hold. They start eating your food. They start using your electricity. Some of them may contribute. Some of them may not. But the ones that don't usually now leech off of you. They may not respect your furniture.
Freeloaders are real.
Yeah, and it's the same.
Freeloaders are real.
Exactly, and it's the same concept. You're letting people into your house for free, use your resources, and they don't. Some of them, not all of them, some of them don't contribute to the society, and that is a problem. That's why there's rules. That's why there's regulations.
And we acknowledge that there will be people like that always. There's always going to be people that's going to choose the path of least resistance and just not do anything. And I think society used to have means to kind of look after these people. There were soup kitchens, and it was mostly volunteer basis, because most of us do have a soft spot for some of these people, and we try and help out where we can. But the moment that charity starts becoming legislated, that's when people start backing off and actually stop supporting these things, because they feel, well, the government's taking my money, so why should I look after somebody that doesn't necessarily want to make it. And people go through ups and downs. I'm fully aware of that. There are people that have problems and so on. So there should be some form of a safety net. But I think generally as humans, if we're left alone to care for our people, we'll figure it out. We're not monsters.
No, we're not. I've seen some very amazing people who have even helped the local refugees, or the refugees that are in Cape Town, with blanket drives and food drive and all that stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. I've absolutely helped them. But those refugees do cause a problem for a country. And I'm not saying just specifically in South Africa. In America, no matter where you are in the world, refugees can be a problem if regulations aren't put in place. Yeah. And there are ways which a country, like you said, does help. And that's fine, but everyone is always upset about the rules that go around these whole regulations, and like, yeah, but why are you so strict, and why are you so this, and and then you get labeled as racist towards that country. It's not like that. There has to be some rules.
It's not racist to say you don't want freeloaders in your country, because you have to pay for them.
Yeah,
it's like me saying I don't want people to come into my house if I don't have the budget to feed them.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's common sense. Yeah. Common sense. It's not like, and this is where I say, this comes back to our debate we had, or not our talk that we had about racism. If everything is racist, nothing is racist.
Yeah, exactly. So Chico says, take your tent elsewhere. The Storm Legacy says, Werner going to be pulling an Elon Musk. Well, I guess I pulled an Elon Musk because I have American and South African passport. And then Chico says, I actually have an interesting research paper in the works regarding patriotism in South Africa specifically. Interesting. I would love to read that.
It would be interesting to kind of, look at it in a year and see what it's about. Because, I think patriotism is it's almost become a bit of like a dirty word among the left. If you say that somebody's a patriot, or it's almost like, so then you must be a white supremacist, or you must be that. It's like, no, being a patriot to your nation is quite simply saying I'm patriotic to my people. And I wouldn't say the government, right? Because governments are filled with people, and people do bad shit. So, when we look at this, we speak in general broad terms. So being patriotic to my general population, being patriotic to my country, I think it's a beautiful thing, right? And I think that is something that we will see it's definitely on the rise, but I think the media tends to, or the general media tends to call it nationalism, right? We've seen it in France, we've seen it in Italy, we see it happening all over the world, right? And I think South Africa is in an interesting position. That's why I'd be quite interested to see that research paper, because there's a lot of people that feel quite tired, broken, that just want to pack up and leave.
Yeah.
And we've seen a massive, massive, massive brain drain out of South Africa because of due to that. Yeah. So it's. I think the more we can get this discussion around patriotism for our country specifically, how do we as patriots that consider ourselves South African patriots, how do we collectively work together, and we can have different points of views, different political affiliations and all that kind of stuff. But if you have a singular focus, it's almost like a business. You say, look, we may have our differences, but we all want to work together and make this thing work because we have pride in it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's not about flag pride or anything like that. It's just having pride in your people. I mean, if you think about it, South Africa has got 11 official languages. We've got so many different cultures. It's a beautiful thing. And I don't want to see that go away under a blanket of oneness.
Yeah. Do you think that the word patriotism may have gotten a bad name from how Americans are perceived? Because I know people automatically assume that Americans are very patriotic and we love our guns and we just shoot people and we're redneck territory, which is a very big stereotype.
It's true, but it's also kind of a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of those neighborhoods that are not being vandalized because there are people that are armed protecting their neighborhood.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think what people don't understand is Americans are very patriotic. I've heard this argument before, the Americans are brainwashed to love their own country from a young age, and all they care about is their own country and blah blah blah. And it's I always tell people this. I'm like, well, let's take South Africa for example. Let's put South Africa as first world country, right? So everything that America has, South Africa has. Hollywood, all the bands, all this big stuff. You step out of your door and boom, there's everything, right? Wouldn't you be patriotic? Wouldn't you love your country as well? I mean, you'd be proud of it. And you can't blame Americans for being proud of their country. Yes, it has its flaws. Of course, it has its flaws. Every country has its flaws.
You want to tell me South Africa has flaws?
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing wrong with being patriotic about your country. And yes, I do know that some people say some patriotic people take it way too far. They do. But that's the same again. Left, you get the very far extreme left, and you get the very far extreme right. There's people.
You have people that take stuff too far in every category and slice of life.
But I think what the majority of people want and do desire and can agree on is exactly what, again, Big Daddy Liberty says. If you stand for your faith, whatever it is, whether you're an atheist, whatever it is you believe in, right? Faith, flag, love of your country, not the government, and family, love. That's what everybody wants to take care of their family. Everybody wants to earn a good living. Everybody wants to live life and be in peace and all that stuff. So, if
and I just want to say, people need to when you say family, it doesn't even necessarily have to be your blood relations or anything like that. Family can be your chosen family as well.
Exactly.
We sometimes have people that are blood related family, and we just don't see eye to eye to them. But we have people that are friends that become like family. And I think in that term, when you say love for faith, family, and flag, or nation. I'm not necessarily, I'm not. A lot of people call it cloth worship.
Oh my word.
Yeah, but it's a symbol. It's not about the rag. It's not about the cloth. It's about the symbolism behind it. And I think as long as people can rally behind the right ideas, then I think South Africa is very divided.
Yeah.
We're still very divided. I don't care what people say, because there is still a concept, especially within our government, of a us versus them.
Yeah.
I mean, you even see it when the major political parties debate each other. They're at each other's throats,
Mm.
and then they
Absolutely.
go back to calling each other honourable, which is
Or His
quite bizarre.
Excellency. That annoys me.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So I think we've spoken quite a bit about that topic. That don't be so quick to judge us or anyone for that matter. Whether I mean, again, you're gonna find people who are extreme on either side of the spectrum.
Mm.
Libertarians can be extreme. Everyone can be extreme. But just because someone may have a different view than you doesn't mean that they are evil or bad or this alt right or alt left, if that exists, whatever it is that.
It would just be crazy.
Yeah.
They just be crazy.
Here's Chico saying, I think patriotism has to be neutral. Has to be a neutral position. Currently, the symbolism of South African patriotism, aren't compatible with the freedoms we're supposed to have. An interesting.
Yeah.
That's an interesting comment. Currently, the symbolism of South African patriotism aren't compatible with the freedoms we're supposed to have. I guess you would need to define those freedoms.
Mm. I think you have to look at our Bill of Rights and our Constitution to kind of look at what those freedoms are. And
But
South Africa has an exceptionally liberal constitution.
It does. It does. Chico, please, man, send me a link, or I don't know how you plan on publishing this, but I would very much like to read it, and I'll even have you on my show, and we can discuss it. I think this needs to be discussed. It needs to be brought to the forefront. So yeah, as soon as it's done, let me know, because that is a very interesting read. Thank you. Okay, so let's move on to other news for today. Some interesting stuff has happened this week, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a very, very productive week for everyone in South Africa. And I think that we're gonna touch again on race again, but we're gonna just go through this. And I know it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, look, we have to talk about it, because we live, unfortunately, in a time where we are being divided by race. So the only thing that we can try and do is to fix it.
Yeah.
Or at least give another perspective to say, don't be divided by race.
Yeah.
Be divided against the people that are trying to divide you.
Yes. So the first topic we are going to speak about is this, ladies and gentlemen, where the president of South Africa called the South African economy, colonial and racist over the many years. And I'm gonna give you the full quote. We have been operating under an economy which has been colonial and racist over the many years. I took great offense to this, and I made a video that is out on Twitter. You can go watch it. I think it is, in my personal opinion, hypocritical of the president to say that.
Since he's a billionaire.
Yes.
And makes money.
Exactly. In his case, the economy was not racist at all. I understand that this is where
him exceptionally well.
This is where
he's white, and we missed it.
Exactly. This is where.
His name is Cyril.
Sorry.
His name is Cyril.
Yeah.
So.
Cyril. Yeah. This is where it gets This is where I have to highlight this. He says colonial and racist. I feel like he's trying to point out that the white man was in control of the economy and therefore it was racist. And for him to go back in history like that, that is a very, very big mistake. Anybody that knows history, anybody that knows how the economy has developed over the years, it has taken many, many different forms. It has evolved over the years. It
Yeah.
took time to develop into what it is today. And as Gareth Cliff said, it's not like the white people of the Illuminati were having meetings and, and deciding who gets a piece of the economy. And this is the part that I want to say that I feel is very important.
Maybe they did. Maybe they did.
Maybe they did back in the day, but surely not now. I mean, I don't think. Okay, let me ask you this: can an economy be racist?
Look, an economy is a completely inanimate. Well, it's not inanimate, but it's not a thing with a consciousness. It's not. I mean, when you talk about something being racist, it must therefore choose to make decisions over, based on somebody's skin tone.
Yes.
An economy, which is a collection of businesses' profits and loss, so it's really just journal entries, cannot in itself be racist. Perhaps the people who run businesses can be racist. People who do business dealings with each other could be racist, but can an entire economy be racist? No.
Exactly.
It's nonsensical. It's borderline stupid to say something like that.
What?
I get what he's trying to say. But it's wrong. He's trying to say that the South African economy is largely white driven and it's white monopoly capital. That's basically what he's trying to say, right? If you look at how our economy is geared and has been geared for the last how many years, right? It is totally geared towards black empowerment. It just is. So if you're gonna, and I'm not saying that was necessarily a bad thing, because we do need to redress the, things of the past. We need to, uplift people, but the how about you go doing it, I don't necessarily agree with things, but that's a different story. So I technically don't agree with what Cyril says. I don't think the economy can be racist. We see loads of people are racist, of course.
Yeah. I agree with you. I don't. That's again where I took offense, because I'm like, an economy cannot be racist. It's not a living thing. It doesn't have a conscience where it chooses who wins and who loses. If anything, BEE, Black Power, whatever that is called, that chooses who wins and who loses. And people have been saying that is racist. And look, we can debate that one. That's a whole nother can of worms.
There are so many levels that you can slice that. I sometimes think, even though there are, you do need to uplift people, saying to someone, well, look, I'm going to give you shares in the business, or I'm going to give you a job over someone else just because of the amount of melanin in your skin, I was confused as to. That in itself is racist.
Yeah.
If you're making a decision based on someone's skin tone, it's a racist thing. Yeah. It's not good for the economy, first of all, right? And secondly, that person somehow deep down must know, look, I got this job not because, maybe I was the most skillful, but maybe I just got it because, hey, I've got a little bit more tone.
Look, I think we've seen the true flaws of the BEE laws during this lockdown. There have been tons and tons, and we can see it all over social media, tons and tons of business people who have lost their businesses and weren't able to get funding, because even though they have African people working for them and they are BEE compliant to a certain degree, they weren't, for whatever reason, the government was like, nah, you need like a 51% shareholder that is African, so we can't. But I have 50 or 100 African employees. They're going to be without any money. They're going to starve.
Yeah.
And the government just turned their back because, again, and again, that's a flaw, and it's not right. So I think that has definitely come to the surface at the moment. And I think for me as well, the statement of the president saying something like that, it's I think he's kind of shown his true colors. A lot of people thought that.
Suicide.
Yeah.
Class suicide.
Exactly.
That's what they're doing. They're trying to erode the middle class. They're trying to, if you look at how many of our PAYE tax income, right, and the something like 80% of our PAYE tax income comes from 745,000 on people. Think about that.
Yeah.
In a country of nearly 60 million, less than 1 million people make up 80% of our PAYE income tax.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole bunch of other income tax brackets, company income tax, that, all that kind of stuff. But in terms of people actually earning and paying PAYE, 80%, less than 1 million people.
There you go. And again, it's I don't know. I would really like to know, for those of you who are watching at the moment, like what you guys think, what you guys feel. Safe space. I've been told on Twitter, with this video that I made, like, y'all, but what was this one comment? I'm trying to remember. He said, like, so if a black man benefits from it, is it okay? And now you're like, I don't know. He was trying to say, like, it's okay for Cyril to benefit from it and call it what he wants, basically. And I was like, well, that's a bit hypocritical as well. Here we go. Samro made promises to artists, and those are still in limbo. Yeah, I see, exactly. We as comedians haven't seen any kind of funding or a relief fund. Werner has actually been gracious to raise funds for comedians and has actually given some vouchers out to some of the comedians who needed it. And he did that on his own. And there's one of the examples of humans being kind to one another and taking initiative. Obviously, I mean, like, you've got the charities now that can't, like, it's illegal to be a charity. What kind of craziness? What kind of craziness is that? And then Chico continues and says, after they stole something like 50 million from artist funds. Yeah, you see, there we go. We all feared this. It's all coming to the forefront. And I think this will lead us on to the next topic, unless you have something further you want to say.
No. Let's move on. You just keep this. Okay.
All right. This is something that was obviously recent. It was announced, I think, yesterday, that the the regulations declared invalid and unconstitutional by the High Court, which is extremely awesome.
Yeah, they have 14 days to rectify all of the mistakes, and I would say that it's arguably impossible to rectify all of the mistakes that they've made in 14 days. Hence, they will arguably try to lodge an appeal for an extension.
Yeah.
And I pray that they get a judge that is sober enough to reject their appeal for an extension. To say, because they should have done this before, right? So if they didn't do, and it's also not coming up that they lied. And I hope South Africans get angry enough, and not angry enough to go like riot and burn stuff down, and that's not what I want. Because whatever you break down and burn down, we got to rebuild, and that comes out of our tax money. That's less money that can go to people. It's self-destruction. It's the dumbest thing you can do.
Yeah.
Right. So take your anger out in terms of your vote. Take your anger out in terms of getting legal answers, suing the top 6 in their personal capacity. Finding people that want to do a class action lawsuit. If I'm sure there's like a hairdressers freaking group or board, where they all like discuss like latest haircuts and I'm being facetious. I'm sure there's some serious shit, right? So, I think they should, as a body, should go with awesome haircuts and sue the shit out of the top 6, right?
Oh yeah.
And just literally because I think it's absolutely disgusting how small businesses have been completely ruined, destroyed for nonsensical reasons. Absolutely nonsensical reasons.
And I agree with you. Speaking about businesses, this wasn't really a small business, but I've just popped it up here on the screen. I don't know how many people have seen this, but I'm going to read the headline. The cigarette ban has killed the oldest store in South Africa. Lester Hewitt interviews Sturk's tobacco shop owner Diane Checkham. I think that's how you, or Cackham. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. But basically, because of the cigarette ban, which is one of the most ridiculous regulations that have been part of this lockdown, has killed a tobacco shop which was 226 years old. That's 2 centuries.
I mean, you can only laugh at this shit, right? I mean, it's sad. It's sad. I'm obviously not
Flippin'
laughing
sad.
because this thing is it's horrendous. But this is almost like it's like a helpless kind of laugh. Like, what do you do? Like, and the only thing that these people must do is just sue them.
Oh,
Everyone,
yeah.
sue the
Well,
crap out of
this is what a lot of people have been saying as well, is that because of this judgment
them.
from the courts, right?
Mm.
Anybody that has been arrested, anybody that has had affected highly from the lockdown,
Mm.
can sue the government.
Mm.
Your criminal record will be erased. So, like, we've heard stories about how many people being arrested for walking on the beach or doing whatever.
Sue them for psychological damage.
Exactly.
Sue them for 10 years worth of treatment, for you and your family. Sue them for food. Sue them for housing. Sue them for take every single last penny that they have.
Yeah, exactly.
And bless you in doing it.
I just going back to this tobacco shop, man. Like it says right here, after surviving numerous wars, cataclysms, plagues, has finally met
Couldn't survive that ANC.
but this is what kind of pisses me off. Has finally met its match in the COVID-19 lockdown. So, okay, I take it back.
It's match in the ANC.
Yeah,
It's not mental word.
Exactly. That's yeah.
Because it's the top 6. You can name them. There's 6 people that's running the shit show.
Exactly. I just want to mention this guy who's Tommy Kutsia, who's watching at the moment. Tommy, I'm going to bring up your comment here. I'm closing my business. We employ close to 150 people. We have a government that are power hungry. I am moving my manufacturing to Poland and working from the States. The country has not improved. Tommy, I think you have echoed what a lot of people are feeling, and I am so sorry that you had to close your business. If you need
any good software engineers to help you make that shit happen, speak to me.
There you go. Werner knows people.
Still standing with my business.
Yeah. So there you go.
I may just look like a conspiracy nut, but I do crazy shit for software.
There you go, Tommy. Katsia, please reach out to Werner. Maybe you guys can help each other out. But again, sorry that you had to close your business.
Yeah, no.
And 150 people. You see, this is exactly what we're talking about.
150 people now, jobless. Not gonna. It's disgusting. It's absolutely. I mean, it makes you sick, right? Yeah. I mean, how long is it going to take for another company that is going to come along to employ 150 people, right?
Yeah. It's Chico says surely they should be a national monument. the cigarette shop. Yeah, you see, that's again another example. Like, if I was in government and there was a shop that was 226 years old came to me and said, like, I need money because of your cigarette ban.
Yeah,
I'd be like, sure. How much do you need? Like, and again, the government just picking who can. Obviously, we know the government has a big thing against the cigarettes, and luckily, BAT has come back into the game. FITA is still fighting. Those judgments are still going to come up, I think, within the week, and we're going to hear more about that. So that's still happening. Now, moving on with some of the other stories here. So we mentioned that. So here's something also I found very interesting. This was an article that came out a while ago, I think, if I'm reading this correctly. Yeah, it was towards the end of what looks to be April. UN Human Rights Office highlights toxic lockdown culture in SA. And according to the UN, More than 17,000 people at that time have been arrested in South Africa for breaking lockdown regulations. And this brings me back to the point that I was making earlier. Those 17,000 people need to sue the government.
Yeah.
All of them.
Wrongful arrest.
Wrongful. All of it. That's
But
17,000 people.
here's the problem with suing the government, right? When you sue the government, the money comes out of the taxpayer's pocket.
Yeah,
You have to go after the ministers directly. But because here's the problem, there are good police officers, right?
Yeah,
there are good police officers. I personally know some of these guys, they're friends of mine, you know, and there's a lot of these guys are having major moral fights on because they can't quit their job. They've got a couple of years to go, then they retire, so their medical aid, their pension funds, and there's nothing else they can do.
Yeah.
Right? So a lot of them are just kind of like asking for desk jobs and like finding places where they don't actually have to like confront issues with the public because they don't want to enforce these rules and regulations. But unfortunately, there are officers who do not care about brutalizing people, who do not care about abusing their badge, you know?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, again, positions of power draws narcissists, you know, and you will find that in the police force.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen that with Collins Koza, George Floyd, and many others that have been brought to the forefront during this time. And I hope that justice will be found for all those families, and it should. Everyone that has been wronged in this lockdown, and there's a lot of people that have been beaten, that have been bullied, that have been wrongfully arrested.
Make you do push-ups, make you crawl, and it's dehumanizing.
Exactly.
It's dehumanizing. Who the hell is the government to come along to tell you you need to do push-ups because you're out walking somewhere? Who do they think they are?
Yeah.
It boggles my mind that we accept this kind of behavior from them. You know, and I would say if you have brothers and sisters or family or anyone in the SANDF or in the SAP that does this kind of stuff, man, you need to have a stern fucking talking to them, right? Because
exactly,
that's showing right.
Exactly, and we will go back.
If you have a son that's in the police or in the SANDF, you know, he does this, and you're a dad, beat your son, fucking beat your kid. He needs a fucking beating so he has some morals and shit,
exactly.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. And going back to some more headlines here and a bit touching on the cigarettes again. This is an interesting headline. Government must stub out its fake news on smoking. This was published today, earlier today, and it's calling out the government on basically South African government specifically, saying that it's given fake news to the public about cigarettes. I'm going to read a very important section here. Our strict lockdown regulations curtail freedom of expression, so the government should lead by example and apply the same rigorous controls to its own advice. A ban on tobacco sales has extended into level 3 lockdown, but it has now been revealed that smokers might actually be protected against contracting novel coronavirus due to the nicotine in their bodies. A very
the virus doesn't like
exactly a very, very interesting article here, which I think will definitely go against the government in this whole tobacco ban. This I'm just going to read on. This makes it high time the government admitted its mistake and apologized for its own fake news, and thinking it could dictate what is and what might be factually accurate. An open mind, a lively discourse, and personal freedom are the necessary ingredients that will see us emerge as a free society on the other side of this pandemic. And I agree with that statement wholeheartedly.
Who wrote that article?
I will look here very quickly. It was Martin van Staden.
Martin van Staden.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm sorry to say, Martin, but you're delusional if you think the ANC is going to apologize. I mean, no offense, man, you know, it's a great, like I too am hopeful about a lot of things in this world. That particular one, I would not hold my breath if I was a betting man. The same.
Very good point. But I think that paragraph is very important
Yeah,
because
no, it's important.
um, there's also been this debate about, okay, so the government's going to decide what is coronavirus fact, but then who checks the fact checkers? Who and how did they
The
know?
Ministry of Truth. Yeah, you call them the Ministry of Truth.
Yeah, and they say that, oh, our scientists say. We've never heard a name of these scientists. They're like the weird above the law kind of you don't see them Wizard of
Yeah.
Oz kind of thing. And yeah, we don't know who they are. They just keep on saying, "Oh, our scientists have told us. Our scientists have told us." And now this article is basically calling them out and saying, basically, what you've done is against our freedom. Where we have a freedom of speech, we have a freedom of information. We need to know as much as possible, and people should be allowed to make their own decisions. Now, yes, there are a lot of there is fake news. I'm not saying that it doesn't exist, but I think the government is being caught out for producing its own fake news to get to their agendas and what they want to do.
Absolutely. And this is why with every court battle, they will back down because they do not have the information. I promise you, they do not have the data, nor do they have the actual footing to stand on. If anyone goes, any real scientist, any real data statistician that goes in a court of law and examines all of the data, and they would have to provide it. It would have to be audited. These things take time, and this is why they are expensive, because when you go to court, you need to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row, right? And you get your expert, right? So, and we know what the experts are saying. They've been saying it for a while. They've been saying this thing is nowhere near as dangerous or deadly as the government or the media is trying to make it out to be, right? It is the death rates and the data are highly suspect. A lot of them are saying, so so if anyone says this is our new normal, I say kiss my ass. It can be your new normal. It's certainly not my new normal. Absolutely. And that's why whenever we see people challenge the government, especially around this COVID stuff, in the court of law, they back down.
Yeah.
They'll try and play for time because it's what it is. They're playing for time.
Yeah.
That's all that is happening now. And I kind of think what they're hoping for, and this is, I think, a global thing that we're seeing playing out, is people getting upset to the point where they riot, and we can have this, because we're now in a state of emergency, where we're in a state of national disaster, something like that, right? I'm not exactly sure of the exact wording, but if we had to riot and protest and get violent, give them the excuse to basically put us under house arrest for an indefinite period of time.
Yeah.
Your government technically becomes dissolved during that process, so there's no parliamentary hearings, there's no fucking nothing, so it's just what they say goes.
Yeah.
So we need to be, and that's why you see with George Floyd, it happened 3 days later, the same shit happened in France. Exactly this, like almost verbatim. You could have just taken the people and placed them in France and just given them, it was also 2 or 3 cops, knee on the neck of a black man, went viral, same thing happened, same MO, same modus operandi, and I think we're purposely being pushed down a road of civil conflict.
Yeah. It is something that I've also kind of, in doing my own research and stuff like that, I've kind of noticed. The cigarette ban means it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, but there are a lot of people that are super angry, and even non-smokers are angry. Even non-smokers are like, how can you? It doesn't make any sense. Like, and they're seeing the effects on people.
I don't smoke, and I'm like, it's my point is quite simply, right? You have bodily autonomy, you have free choice, you have free will, right? Anyone that prevents you from exercising your free will, if I want to take a fork and stab myself in the fucking eye, right? It's my choice.
Yeah, exactly.
It'd be stupid. It'd be dumb as things. Just maybe mentally deranged, and there would be some kind of moral obligation of somebody around me to try and stop me or at least talk me out of it,
Yeah.
right? But there is such a thing as bodily autonomy, and there's a very good case that was said, and it was with Mario Ambrosini. I forgot his full name, Mario Oriano Ambrosini.
Mm.
And no, he was the one South African parliamentarian. There was another advocate that they requested the right to self-terminate their life due to terminal disease.
Mm.
And we don't have that right in SA. You can't legally, have someone euthanize you.
Yeah.
Right. So I believe they did it for themselves, and so the point is quite simply, you should have the right and the bodily autonomy to choose whether you live or die.
Yeah. No,
it's not the responsibility of the state. It's obviously the responsibility of the state to kind of make sure that the systems that we find ourselves are favorable for us to kind of just live our lives, right? But they're not there to protect us. They're not really, because they don't.
Yeah.
Please don't protect us.
Yeah, that's true. I just want to quickly touch on the final headline for this evening, and then I'm going to go and I'm going to bring up Tommy Kutsia's comment and Chico's comment that they gave recently, because they're very important. So here we see more good news. I think that another court loss for NDZ, as COVID-19 patients may not be forced into state quarantine, that was AfriForum, by the way, guys, and AfriForum has been labeled as a racist organization. It is not. Do your research on AfriForum,
There
please.
is still a rights movement.
Exactly. Do your research.
And it's because they have an Afrikaans white male.
Yeah.
At the end of it.
Exactly. So do your research on AfriForum, please. I think they have been doing some amazing things, especially during the lockdown. And they're the ones that
as well.
Yeah,
they don't discriminate.
Exactly.
They help people of all walks of life.
They have, like I said, go research. You'll see they have helped every single community, and this was for us as South Africans to make sure that we don't get in those filthy state quarantine situations with very little food, terrible conditions, worse than prison conditions, and they won. So now what can happen is if you get sick, or if you feel that you are, or if you
get positive for COVID-19.
Thank you. If you get tested positive for COVID-19, you can actually go home and self-isolate. You do not have to go to a state quarantine, which is a very, very big win for all of us, for every single South African. It is a very big win because people were being torn away from families. And yeah, it was very bad conditions that they were put into. So well done to AfriForum. IRR also fight for some. They also have a legal battle. And there's also citizens themselves that are fighting the government at the moment, and they've done amazing things. So I highlighted one paragraph that I wanted to read, which was the court has now, however, said that, which is what I just said, a person is only required to be in quarantine or isolated at the state facility
if they're unable to self-quarantine.
Yeah, other designated quarantine site when that person is unable to self-quarantine or self-isolate or refuses to do so or violates self-quarantine or self-isolation rules. Which I don't think a lot of people are going to do that. So that's a very good win for us South Africans. Very quickly, going to Tommy Kutsia. What if BAT go after NDZ? I hope they go after her business. The fight, as far as I understand, of tobacco with NDZ is going to be a lengthy one, unfortunately. The recent ruling of the regulations being illegal helps, but I have done some research and it's been told to me by a lawyer that it's a separate case. What could happen is if they win if the whole illegal
If the 14 days pass by and they don't rectify it, then the whole thing falls. Then the whole thing is invalid, and everyone just goes back to whatever the hell you want.
Exactly. Thank you, Werner. Exactly. That's exactly what can happen.
So inundate them with cases the next 14 days. Please just phone them, get her cell number, fucking phone her every 5 seconds so she can't wipe her ass. Right? That's what we need to do. Like her helpers, her legal staff, fucking phone them up and go, hey, what you wearing, baby? And it's just phone up. You know, keep them busy. Phone like call center agents. Jesus, call center agents. You have to do this. Get on that shit. Fucking dial. Trying to sell them insurance. Trying to sell them fucking a new vape pen. I don't care. I will pay call center agents to fucking phone them solidly for the next 14 days.
Exactly. So yeah, if they appeal, if they win the appeal, then the separate legal case with the cigarette ban will obviously run its course, and we'll see where that heads. But yeah, look, the reality is, guys, ANC is known for appealing. So many have said like it's a good win.
Then you take it to the Constitutional Court.
Exactly.
Next step.
It's a good win, but the ANC will try and hold on to its power for as long as possible. And then Chico says, free will is a slippery slope when it starts infringing on the well-beings of others. Of course. Look, you are allowed to do whatever it is you want to do as long as you're not harming someone. I stand for that. I've always said that. And
that's why there are laws. I mean, if you have sex with someone, like, and you have an STD and you don't tell them, like, and if that's a crime. It's a crime to, especially something like that could, like HIV. If you're HIV positive and you don't tell someone and you do this, it can be classed as a crime.
Yes.
Right? So yes, absolutely. Your freedom should never infringe on someone else's freedoms and liberty. Right? I'm totally down with that. In the case of like this COVID disease, if I saw out in the streets people, just falling over, dying of these, of course I'd say fucking put yourself on a lockdown for the next 6 months, dig a tunnel, whatever, go into a bunker, do whatever you need to do to survive. But we're not seeing that, so we're not seeing these massive deaths, we're not seeing these huge spikes. We're seeing also conflicting reports, people that have, just people that probably would have, died during this flu season.
Yes.
And it sounds callous when you say it like that, we kind of see a direct correlation between winter flu numbers and COVID numbers, and where there's COVID increases, there's almost like no other things that's causing death, So there's I think most people have a good compass to know whether or not your actions are really endangering someone else's life.
Yeah. There was something you touched on now that I wanted to ask you, speaking about COVID and stuff. And here's something interesting, and I think a lot of people are starting to notice it as well, with these riots that are happening almost all over the world. Where is COVID?
All of a sudden, there's no worry about it, no social distancing.
People are still wearing the mask, but I think they're more doing that to hide their identity than anything else.
Yeah. And I mean, look, there are a lot of peaceful protests, and there are a lot of protests which are being co-opted by Antifa. They are being co-opted by ISIS, and this is a fact. I mean, we know that there are a lot of people that these
we've seen the videos.
White agitators from Antifa are caught handing out bricks, paying people money to go break into shit in ISIS. So it's And I think that's the kind of point that I'm just that I want everyone to just kind of take at heart, is in these times that we find ourselves now, it's very easy to get roped into or get pulled into some kind of like a race debate, right? That debate is meant to divide you. It's meant to make you pick a side, to choose white or black or Hispanic or Asian or something of the sort, right? And don't take the bait. Just, be polite, be kind to your fellow man, give people the space, the place to protest. And I think as white people, and we should be respectful of people's right to peacefully protest, but stay the fuck out. You have nothing to do there. It's not your place. I'm serious.
Yeah.
I'm dead fucking serious. Be you can express your allieness or your but we're unfortunately seeing a lot of these skateboarding kids, fucking call them white Antifa pieces of trash, that goes and causes a lot of shit and then makes peaceful protesters look bad. Yeah. So, in the sake of that, I'd say, crackers, stay the fuck at home. Light a candle, put it in your window, fucking sing Kumbaya with the thing, put an e-card, put your face on, let your Chinese walk with it down the street, but stay the fuck out of it. It's not your march, it's not your protest. You can have solidarity without having to be there, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I know probably a lot of people will probably take me to task for this, but I think it is in order to make sure that there can be no confusion. There can be no confusion about who's causing the cuck, right? Because that is what's causing the race war. People are saying, oh, these people that are protesting, they're just now just using it as an excuse to loot the light, to riot and loot, right? But it's not necessarily the protesters. Sure, there are maybe some of them that you roped into it because, hey, they came along for the ride and fuck it, people are throwing bricks through windows and looting shit, so let's just get on board and get a new set of speakers and the fucking TV and,
new pair of Nikes.
Yeah. I mean, there's been video footage that I've seen. It's ridiculous. Cops being run over, people being shot, people being beaten to death.
Businesses are being burnt. I mean, they attacked a homeless guy's bed. Like, he's a homeless dude. Literally, probably doesn't even know who George Floyd is, has no,
and here's a mob coming to just burn his shit down.
Exactly. And it's sad.
Like, what kind of a fucking, piece of shit are you, that does that?
Yeah.
To a homeless person. I mean, that's just disgusting on another level. And I really hope these people that do these nasty ass shit, I hope they get caught. I hope they get punished to the full extent of the law. And I think they will. Antifa's being declared as a terrorist organization. I think we will see how their financing structure is working in the next couple of days.
Yeah.
We should see who from the blue states have been coordinating with them. I think the next couple of days is going to be a hell of it interesting, right?
Yeah, but I also expect as more more facts come out, the riots may just get a little bit worse.
Oh, it's gonna increase, and it's gonna not just be the US. We're gonna see more, we've just seen before this. I looked at some footage from the UK, riots in the UK, these riots in France. I'm pretty sure it will spill over into all of the countries. I mean, in South Africa, we kind of blasé about this shit right now. We're so used to anything, but I think what we're seeing in the US is like a next level. I mean, there's been 2 or 3 police officers already killed, maybe more.
One of which was black.
Yeah.
Black police officer.
Donovan something. I saw his. I think it was earlier. And not a peep. Not a peep. So it's an interesting thing to see a lot of celebrities bailing out a lot of these Antifa members. For people that's been arrested. Bring up to 200,000 rand or $200,000 in bail money.
Jeez.
So they want people out in the streets. They want people out rioting. They want people to burn shit down. And you even saw Antifa tweet out, I think it says, tonight we take it to the suburbs. And, so it's like they're trying to stoke a civil war.
Yeah, I worry for America, and I worry that it gets there, but hopefully
I worry,
we can get
I
some
worry for the
control.
world. I
Yeah,
worry for the world because,
so
like I said, people may think this is in the US, but this is being promulgated across the globe. I mean, it's call it what they call it the deep state, call it the swamp, call it the people who don't want to give up their power because they
here's
just don't want.
something interesting, right? Um, I saw a video of George Floyd's brother,
Mm.
and it's from his account, uh, asking people to stop rioting, to stop the
Yeah,
protesting. Well,
stop. This is not what George would have wanted.
yeah,
Too late, though. Too late. It's too
but it's
late.
interesting to me,
Mm.
right, that the family comes out and says, "Guys, we
Mm.
need to stop this. The
Mm.
violence against violence is not going to help anyone." And
But no,
yet,
here's the thing: they have, and I think they kind of have to say that because, like, what kind of person are you if you say, yeah, go ahead and fucking torch America because my son was killed?
no, obviously, but
It doesn't make sense. So, the right thing to say is like, this is not what my brother would have wanted. This is not what we want in his name. And that's right. It's the right thing to say because if I get killed, heaven forbid, by the police or anything, I don't want people going and tearing and killing innocent people, destroying innocent people's businesses. They had nothing to do with it.
yes,
You know,
but that's what I'm saying. Like, it is a right thing to say.
yeah,
I'm not saying it's a wrong thing to say. What I'm saying is, you, a family member has come out and said, "Guys, let's just stop. This is not what George would want.
mm,
Blah blah blah. We need to be peaceful about this. We need to do this the right way." But yet, the narrative is still being pushed and pushed hard,
mm, yeah,
and it just shows you that Antifa has its own agenda. It doesn't.
of course,
It doesn't.
of course.
It basically just was like, oh, really? Okay, cool. Then we're still gonna go on.
I posted a on my Facebook page. I posted a video last night by a guy, a young Pharaoh. Right, he did a live stream like 2 nights ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 3 hour live stream,
Wow.
3 hours, and he goes into BLM and he goes into how a lot of these movements have been co-opted and he's got video clips and he's got footage and he breaks it down in a way that like a lot of people like it's long. It's 3 hours. It's long, right? But I mean, he just fucking just like bam,
Like
bam, bam, bam. He just comes at you with info. If there is any video that you watch in the next couple, it's that. That will explain exactly what is going on at the moment, right? It'll give you like stuff about George that will blow your freaking mind. This guy, he did. I mean, not saying that what happened he deserved that, not at all. But there's a lot of stuff that doesn't add up. Him and the white cop working together at the same bar up until last year. The cop worked at that place for 17 years. At the door. How do you not know that is one of your work colleagues?
Well, I'll definitely go and watch that, even though it's 3 hours. But I'll just pretend like it's the Titanic. It's a 3 hour movie.
It's way more exciting. Way more exciting. I mean, this guy's got energy. I mean, he cusses a lot. I mean, he's just. I mean, he's just like you motherfuckers, that's you motherfuckers, and I'm like, yeah. And the great thing is, now he is one of them. He says straight up, I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm not a this, but he goes and he tears the left fucking apart from, and it's like there is not a single point that you can go on and actually fault him on. He is, there's maybe here and there stuff that I'm not too sure about. Most of the stuff is just factual, on point.
I'll look for the video on your timeline and I'll leave a link to the description below.
Yeah.
For those who may want to watch this later and may want to watch it. Very quickly, we've gone a bit over time, so we're going to have to end it off very shortly. But I just want to, I don't know, Chico might be starting another can of worms, but we'll see. Problem is, COVID hasn't had the 5,000-year head start that the flu has had, and the numbers are similar with a lockdown. I'm high risk, so more concerned that someone will be nonchalant and I'll get it.
Well, even if you do, there are symptomatic treatment measures, so the hydroxychloroquine with zinc and what's it, azithromycin. I'm not exactly sure what the names of it, right? And there are loads of doctors that have given great response back on it. It's a cheap protocol. They've given it to like the old people in old age homes that have a range of comorbidities, and they fought it off fine and come back. The key is early intervention.
Yeah.
So if you feel like you have it, go to the doctor, get a script for that disease. Obviously discuss it with them. I'm not a doctor, I'm not, so I'm obviously saying that, but there is a lot, and I mean it's not just one doctor. It's from Italy, France, Germany, America. I personally know of someone that was on the ACQ treatment protocol and also had a couple of high blood pressure, diabetes and that kind of stuff, and made it through fine.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're right, Chico. The common flu does have 5,000 years a head start, but COVID is
every year.
Yeah, and COVID is a strain of the same thing, and that's factual. It might be a bit more contagious, sure, and it might kill, yes, a lot of people. But compared to other diseases, not so much. And again, we're living in a time.
The mortality rate down to something like 0.04.
Yeah, and even now the mortality, we can't find a correct or accurate mortality rate because, well, we haven't tested everyone in the world, so we don't know. And also some of the, again, this is going to open a can of worms, so this is the last thing I'm going to say on it. It's been outed that people are dying, but their deaths are related to other things, but yet it's marked as COVID. So again, everything can be questioned, and I think a lot of COVID-19 stories and facts are going to come out after we have moved on from this. And again, right now, there's riots, there's all this stuff. We haven't seen any cases or peaks yet, and people are saying, okay, well, there's a 2 weeks, incubation period. So,
21-day incubation period.
Yeah. So everyone's also saying, there should be like an increase now because of these riots, like in 2-3 weeks. We'll see. But it's going to be very interesting if there isn't. But again, nobody seems to care about COVID right now with this stuff that is happening.
And if you look at what they predicted for SA specifically, right? So they said because we have such high prevalence of diabetes, we have such high prevalence of TB, we have high prevalence of HIV, we're going to have people just falling like flies on the street, right?
Exactly.
This is what the scientists, they predicted insane numbers, right? And when we went into lockdown, and you can ask most of people that come from townships and that kind of stuff, they'll tell you straight up there was no lockdown in the townships. It's largely physically fucking impossible to have a lockdown in the youth, because how do you keep distance from people if you literally sleep 10 people in the same room, right? So and we're not seeing bodies piling out of the townships.
But again,
we just not.
This is like a whole nother can of worms, because we discussed it in the last episode where we said like the numbers can't be trusted, and it goes back to that whole government controlling the information that we're seeing, which is why I say when this lockdown is over, whether it be by the court saying, cool, you guys have no more authority to have this power, it's done, lockdown out, we're getting out of it, boom, and then all the truth starts coming out, because there is fishy things happening, whether you want to see it or not, whether you're saying Cyril or you're saying you hate ANC, there's some fishy things happening, and that cannot be denied, and I think we'll see the truth coming out very soon. Peter Lotter has joined us and says, hi guys, and then Chico said, Peter, better late than never. Yeah, better late than never, Peter. We're just about to end, but thank you so much for tuning in. Please feel free to watch this from the beginning. Chico also says, I have severe chronic asthma. COVID will have a field day in my lungs. We're not doctors.
Get some weed, man. I know so many asthmatics that smoke weed, and it helps this shit straight up.
I think Chico smokes weed. I'm pretty sure he I don't think he'll admit it on the live chat, but I think at the open mic I may have seen him do that. I think. I'm not sure. All right.
Look,
So
I ascribe my health largely due to cannabis, and it's. I mean, we can go. Maybe this is something that we can go into one of our next discussions. We can talk about the medicinal aspects, and how the cannabis plant actually works. Because a lot of people, when I started on my whole cannabis thing like 8 years ago, 10 years ago, you know, so I'm used to controversy. People calling me crazy. Back then I was like, cannabis is a medicine. It'll heal you. And like doctors said, no, it's not. You're crazy. You're a batshit. You're a lunatic. And now we have doctors on it. We have people making their own oils. It's now accepted that this stuff is medicinal, right? And it is, because the science behind how this works, it's fascinating. So I would definitely recommend it if you have lung-related issues. Use cannabis. You don't necessarily have to smoke it. You can use it as a tincture. You can use it as, there's various ways that you can use it. I do, however, know lots of asthmatics that smoke cannabis for asthma, because it actually opens up the lung I can't pronounce
in the lung.
Yeah, the capillary or capillary lobe. That word. It sort of helps them expand and contract and prevent damage.
Well, there you go, Chico. You've been recommended to smoke weed. He says that he doesn't. Seriously, he doesn't. No joke. That he doesn't smoke weed. Okay, I was mistaken. Not a problem. But there you go. Maybe.
Vape pen. I mean, you even get like a vape pen. There's a lot of vaporizers that use plant material for asthmatics. Israel has been doing studies on cannabis and medicine since the 70s, really. I could talk about this particular topic for hours as well, so we can definitely go into that.
Why not? We'll arrange another time to go into the weed debate of is it medicinal, is it not, and the benefits of marijuana. I've heard about it, especially with my one friend Etienne Davis, who is a big advocate for marijuana, and he himself, when I used to indulge with him, used to tell me long stories, and there were facts of how marijuana is good for you. It can help you, but I think, like anything else, if you
can be abused.
Sorry?
Can be abused.
Yeah, it can be abused, and it can have negative effects. But again, if you drink too much Coke, you're going to get diabetes. So, everything has its ups and downs. I'm not saying Coke is healthy. Obviously, it's not. But I'm just saying anything that you take in excess will have a negative effect. But you're right. There are definitely some... Sorry, Chico, I'm reading his comment. I love how Joe just assumes I smoke weed. It's the hair, isn't it? Yes, it is the hair. I'm not gonna lie. He's got like big bushy hair. It's crazy.
Yeah, and this is how I always avoided getting caught. Because I was a corporate lackey. I was one of those corporate dudes I smoked probably more weed than most stoners would ever. Because I never smoked this stuff ever until I started doing research on it, and then I was like, okay, well, fuck it, and I just started like increasing, because I'm one of those. I will do the science and then I'll experiment on myself. I've got no problem with that. If I die, I die. Those things.
You're your own guinea pig.
Yeah, but I came to read the science first before I just, so it comes from a place of, okay, well, it can't really do major damage to me, so let me just go, And I did the same thing with tobacco. I never used to smoke tobacco. I got myself fully addicted to tobacco, and then I got myself off of it again.
Sure.
Look, tobacco addiction is hard.
Yeah.
I will be honest, that's a hard one to let go of.
Yeah, it is.
But I managed to do it anyway.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna cut. We're going to end it here. I think we have had a very interesting conversation about the past week and everything that's happened. I have a feeling that when we do this again next Wednesday on the Let's Talk Weekly or the Weekly Talk, we'll have even more to talk about.
We want to mention this. There's a couple of things that I just want to mention this briefly. Okay, Hillary had to go. She tried to defend the fact that she doesn't have to go do a deposition or testify in front of Senate. She lost that, so now she has to testify in front of Senate or court on her Benghazi and email stuff. Boom, that happened today. Today, that's good news. What else is there? There was all sort of part of this, and Obamagate is still going like nuts on Twitter, but not trending. Weird.
Well, again, this is where the conspiracy comes in a bit. I find it interesting how certain things were happening in the States, and now all of a sudden we have riots. I'm going to leave it there. You guys go and Google and watch the timeline of what's been happening in the past few weeks or even months in America, and start asking yourself questions as, why are certain things happening now? So again, up for debate, and maybe we'll have a separate show based on that, and you guys can ask us questions. Peter says, "Damn, I'm really sorry, I'm late, guys." Look, it's fine, Peter. You can go watch this.
You can just rewind everything and start from, and then if it's shit, you can go a bit forward and back and take the good part.
Exactly.
There's some good parts, there's some bad parts.
Yeah. But we do this every Wednesday, where we look at the headlines, some of the headlines of the local headlines here in South Africa, and some international headlines as well. So please join us next week, where we do the weekly talk, or We Talk Weekly. I keep on forgetting what I call this show.
We just talk about news, and we're just happy that other people want to hear us talk. It's weird. I don't know, like it's weird that other people want to hear us talk about this stuff, but I accept it graciously. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all so much for tuning in. Peter, Storm Legacy, Chico, you guys are amazing. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And Chico, please let us know when you get done with that paper that you're, the research paper that you're doing. We really want to maybe have you on the show and talk about it. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, and on that bombshell, we'll see you next week, Wednesday, with me. And of course, Werner Weber. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm interviewing a whole lot more interesting people as well during the course of the next few weeks. I'm interviewing tomorrow. I have someone from the Cape Independence Advocacy Organization. We'll be discussing secession, the Western Cape secession from South Africa. And I will also be having a late show tomorrow with retired Colonel Chris Wyatt, and we're going to be talking about the myth of Donald Trump, and I'm going to leave it at there. I'm going to let you guys.
Oh, I don't want. I'm gonna tune in.
The myth of Donald Trump. So we're going to leave it at there. We think that that's an interesting title, and we'll leave it at there. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Tommy, thank you so much for tuning in as well. And we'll see you at the next one. Good night, guys, and stay safe.
Good night.
Cheers.
Thank you.